Oh, 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुत्सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। So in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan starts teaching Arjuna about what is his duty. He says, as a Kshatriya here, Dharma is to fight for good against evil. And you have this wonderful opportunity where you are facing the Kauravas who have done all kinds of evil acts, not only against you, but against the entire society. So you have this opportunity where if you win, you will be the king. And even if you die, you will go to heaven because that's a Kshatriya's duty. And that is how you can guarantee that you will have success either way. And if by chance you don't fight, and if you go away to the forest, the people will call you a coward. Vayad ranaduparatam mansyante tvam maharathaha. All these great warriors who look up to you, that Arjuna is the greatest, will now laugh at you, make fun of you, and use all kinds of bad language about your valor, about your courage. And these people who used to admire you, now you will become a focus of their ridicule, and there can be no worse fate for a warrior or for a great king to be mocked at, and that's what you will be. Tato dukkataram nukim. You will have so much sorrow when you hear all the things that people are talking about you. And after having talked that, now Bhagwan starts a topic of karma yoga. how to act in the world. As we see, the second chapter, as we mentioned, is a summary of all the 18 chapters. Just as a good speaker in the beginning will talk about what he or she is going to talk. And then on the 18th chapter, Bhagwan summarizes. So here he's talking about Karma Yoga, which he will cover in detail in the third chapter. And he starts with Sukha Dukkha Same Kritva Labha Labha Jaya Jayo Tato Yuddhaya Yujyasva Naivam Papam Avapsisi. He says, do what is right, then you will incur no sin. And in life, you will have joys and sorrows, success and failure, honor and dishonor. But a wise person remains focused on his goal, whatever the goal is. Choose the right goal, and then let not circumstances deviate you. And then last week, we had seen how he said that now I will tell you Buddhi Yoga. I have talked to you about Sānkhya, Sānkhya, which is the highest teaching of the Bhagavad Gita and of the Upanishads. That we have covered. Now I will tell you about Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is another term for Karma Yoga, and knowing which you will be free from all bondages. That is, if you do the right thing, you will not have bondages in life. You will not have problems in life. You will be focused. So today we will talk more about what Karma Yoga is and how to perform actions and not let our mind get disturbed. So that we will talk in detail, and how to keep our mind on the goal. So that will be our topic today. So chapter 2 will start with shloka number 40, where he's talking about Buddhi Yoga, which is also Karma Yoga. So we'll chant. Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Together, Neha bhikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So here Bhagavan Shri Krishna is glorifying the path of Karma Yoga and what will happen if you do it, because people think, I don't know, I'm not that qualified, I can't do that much, I am very limited. Or if I don't do it correctly, what will happen? So Bhagavan is glorifying the path of Karma Yoga. Na iha, not here. Abhikramanasha asti. Abhikramanasha. Krama means sequence. Abhikramanasha means if you don't perform the Karma Yoga in the proper way, in sequence, there is no loss, there is no nasha, there is no harm. And pratyavayaha na vidyate, and there is no adverse effects. We'll talk about what he means by sequence actions and adverse effects. Neither of those two are there in Karma Yoga. There is no nasha if you don't do it in sequence, and there is no adverse consequences. But the Karma Yoga, even if you do little bit, su alpa, even a small amount of Karma Yoga, apiyasya dharmasya, of this duty, of this Karma Yoga, which is now your duty, even if you do a small amount, trayate mahattaha bhayat, he will protect you from great fear. So what is the meaning of this shloka? So he says, first of all, there is no abhikrama nasha, there is no defect. See, in the olden days, karma was meant, close the door fully, please. Karma was meant to be rituals. But now Bhagwan is giving a new meaning to Karma Yoga, which is actions dedicated to the Lord, unselfishly performed without I and my. So he says when actions are performed, there is no loss of sequence. What do we mean by loss of sequence? What are the defects? Say if I want to start a business, I want to build a new factory. So what do I have to do? First, I have to have the concept clear, do all the research, if there is a need in this community or not. Then I have to get the plans approved, get an architect. Then I have to get financing. I cannot start. Then I have to all that, then get the construction done, then hire the right kind of people and equipment, and then start the work. But suppose I have not done proper research. I don't follow the sequence. I don't do research, and I start planning, and then I may start the building, and then I found out, array, there are already 3 factories nearby, and my business is not going to succeed here. I should have started 50 miles away. So I have not followed the sequence, not done my research, or I don't have full financing. I'll say, we'll borrow from the bank. As if the bank declines my loan, then what happens? The building has started, there is no money. So not following the sequence will make my project unsuccessful. Or in medicine, like some medicines, they say it should be taken, before meals, and I forget. And then I take after the meal, maybe that medicine may not work as good because I have not followed the right sequence. Or in cooking, I'm trying to make dosa. And for that, what do I have to do? I have to ferment it the day before, and then, get the material, ferment it the night before. Then at that time, follow the sequence, put the oil, do that. But if I forget to ferment at night and then in the morning hurriedly, it's not going to work. So you have to follow the sequence. And same way in rituals also. People have called these pundits to do rituals. And if they are qualified, it is good. But some of them, take shortcuts. Don't perform the ritual. वो कहते हैं शादी 2 घंटे में नहीं, हमको 45 मिनट में चाहिए. You want the wedding to be done in 45 minutes. Pandit, they pay him a little extra. Pandit said, ठीक है. So he goes through fast. You have not followed the sequence, all the benefit of the ritual will not be there. That is the main thing. So abhikrama nasha means if you don't follow the correct sequence, then you won't get the benefit of. So that is one. Then other is pratyavaya. Pratyavaya means you can have some adverse effects. Like some medicine, they say, take it after meals, because it will lower your blood sugar, you're diabetic. So after meals, your sugar is up. So you take it before meals when your sugar is already low, and then it drops it further. Suddenly you get blood sugar of 40, 50, you get hypoglycemia. So that is pratyavaya, where you did not follow and you have adverse effect happening. The person's sugar drops too much, he becomes dizzy. Or for example, in the case of, there was a story in the Srimad Bhagavad that the Asuras and the Devtas, they always fight. And in the Puranas, and so these Asuras were going to do some ritual, very elaborate rituals, spend a lot of money and a lot of effort. And they, as the result of the ritual, the son was going to be born to the Asuras who will be invincible and who will destroy Indra, who will actually destroy Indra, and they can take over the kingdom of heaven. But they again, forgot to do some mantras, they did some mantras incorrectly. Son was born, but he didn't have all the powers that they wanted. And Indra was able to kill him and maintain the kingdom of heaven. So the Asuras. So that's what they're saying, that when you do any activity, or sometimes in rituals also, they say that if you do it the wrong way, not only the ritual may not benefit you, but you may have adverse effects of the rituals. That they used to believe. I'm not sure if right now, but the point is that these rituals should be properly done. religious rituals. But in the case of karma yoga, there is no adverse effect. Even if you do a little bit, su alpam api, even a small amount you do, even you don't do at the right time, you don't follow the right sequence, as long as my motive is good and my actions are pure, I will get the benefit. You may not get the full benefit, but there will be no adverse effect. There will be no fear. Say, for example, there is a race, right? And in the race, in the Olympics, only the first three win, right? Gold medal, silver, and bronze. Not like US, where no matter whether your son wins or loses, all of them get the same trophy. The first place and the last place, every player, one who didn't even play, so not like that, but suppose you are not racing, but you are doing a walkathon or a marathon for a good cause. I'm doing it for a good cause. And in the walkathon, you are not able to complete as much as you were supposed to do. There's no adverse effect. You will still raise funds. The idea is, or even marathon, you don't complete. But if you have done it with the motive that it's for a good cause and you have raised funds, then it's okay. You tried your best. So that's what they say, that when you are doing karma yoga, it doesn't matter. You may not follow the right sequence. You may not even do it correctly, completely. But if your motive is good, even a small amount of effort in this direction will give you great results, will protect you from all kinds of fears, all kinds of. So Bhagavan is saying, you don't even have to wait for the right muhurat. For rituals, you have to wait. Okay, it has to be done at 8 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday and all. Karma yoga, nothing like that. Not like I wait for 6 months for the stars to be no. When you decided, just get going. If you have decided, you found a good cause, you have decided you're going to work in that, just do it. So that's what they say. You don't have to wait for a particular time, don't have to wait for a particular graha, don't have to wait for circumstances. Once you decide, just do it. So that's what the Nike slogan is, just do it. So same way, karma yoga, just do it without fear. Now he's telling us how to make the mind single pointed. Number 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kuru nandana bahushakhayanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. Together. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kuru nandana bahushakhayanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. So he has used the word vyavasayatmika and avyavasayina. So vyavasayatmika, in Hindi, vyavasaya means business, but in Sanskrit, vyavasaya means single-pointed buddhi. So vyavasayatmika buddhi means the intellect, the buddhi, which is single-pointed. That's how one should work in life. Keep your mind single-pointed. Eka iha Kuru Nandana, O Kuru Nandana, O the best of the Kuru dynasty. He belonged to the Kuru dynasty, the family. Again, it's opening, just close it. Sorry. The sound goes out otherwise. Yeah. So the Kuru dynasty, Arjuna belonged to that. So he says, O Arjuna, there is one only single-pointed intellect. That is only one. But Bahushakha hi anantascha buddhayo avyavasayina. Avyavasayina means those who are not focused, not single-pointed. What happens? Bahushakha, many directions. Their mind goes endless directions. Buddhi, the buddhi of the people who are not focused. Why? Because of desires. their mind runs in 100 different places and they are not able to accomplish the goal. So let us see, any activity we decide, any project, say I want to do well in the exam, or I want to get a job, or I want to start a business, or I want to keep my house clean. Any of these activities that we want to do, we have to be single pointed. That, okay, this is my time to do this work and go to this work, you plan it. But in the middle, if you start thinking, this is okay, and then you suddenly your mind goes something else, let me do that. Or I'm supposed to do something at home, but then suddenly, I hear that there is a good program on TV, then I watch TV for a while, then I take a nap, and before I know it, the day is over and I haven't got my work done. And same way, when we go for shopping, somebody says, I want to buy this, this, and this, these three items. So you go to the store, pick up 1, 2, 3, maybe another store, finish, and you're out. But if you are not fully focused, or if you have too many desires, you say, chalo, let me walk around. So instead of getting those three, you walk around the store and pick up 15, 20 items, and those three you haven't got, and you come home and your husband says, what is all this you bought? You spent $350, or wife says, I don't want to say either way. You say you went and you bought all this stuff. You went to Fry's Electronics. You were supposed to buy one project and you came back with 10 different things. And did you get the one you were supposed to? Array, that I forgot. Or it was not there. So when we don't have a focus, then we don't do what we are supposed to do. Like you're supposed to watch TV, right? And you say, okay, 7:30, there is the news. 9 o'clock is my favorite show. So 7:30 to 8, I watch the news. 9 to 10, I watch the show and turn it off. And that's it. Then you have time to do other things. But somebody flips on the TV at 6. Chalo, dekhte kya aa raha hai, what is coming on TV, and you keep flipping the channels. Nowadays, they have 100, 200 channels. I wonder who watches all those 250 channels. Kaun dekhta? But people are there. They must be watching because they have ads and everything. And you keep flipping the channel. This program is not good. You watch 5 minutes of the next. And before you know, from 6 p.m. to 9, 10 p.m., you have wasted your 3, 4 hours and not watched. So that's what they say, that when you do what you have to do, you focus your mind. But if you have too many desires, then your mind will get very easily distracted. I want this also, I want that also. Like when university, our kids go to college, to university, and we say, what is your major? I haven't yet decided my major. I'm going to go and see what. So 3 months, 6 months, they do one major course, and another 6 months, another 3 years have passed, and they still haven't decided their major. Why? Because they are not focused. They don't have their goal clearly. So that's why he says, have your goal clear and do the right thing, but do not have selfish desires, because that diverts your mind. And Duryodhan, was like that. He had so many desires, selfish desires, that he never did the right thing. Never, he tells that I know what is right, but I am not able to do it. And I know what is wrong, I'm not able to avoid it. Janami dharma, nacha me nivritti. Janami adharma, nacha me, janami dharma, nacha me pravritti. Janame adharma, nacha me nivritti. I know what is right. I'm not able to do it because my mind is not focused on my goal. I just get diverted because of my selfish desires. And I know what I should not do, but I'm not able to do it because I am not focused on the right goal. Talking about Duryodhan, I heard a very beautiful story. So Bhagwan Sri Krishna one day calls his charioteer, to the palace. He says, come in the morning, we have to go. So the charioteer comes and he's waiting. And normally there's a particular time when Bhagwan gets ready. And that day he doesn't seem to come out. It's taking very long. So charioteer just goes into the palace. and sees Bhagavan standing in front of the mirror, very beautifully decorated, very beautiful clothes, jewelry, mukut on his head, crown and all, looking very handsome. He says, Bhagavan, you are looking very nice, very well. You have done so much time to get ready. Where are we going? He says, we are going to meet Duryodhan. He says, to meet Duryodhan, why do you need to get all dressed up and look nice? He says, look, Duryodhan doesn't know my inside. He only looks at me outside. So I need to impress him. So I'm going because that's all he looks at. People on the surface doesn't focus on how they are inside. So Sarthi says, I understand, but I still don't agree. So he says, why? He says, you are the Lord of the universe of three worlds, and you are also the king, but you are the Lord. And Duryodhan is just an ordinary king, and you are the Lord of the three universes. Why are you going to see him? You should call him. You come to see me. Why are you going? He says, look, I'll tell you one thing. Darkness doesn't go to light. Light has to go to darkness. So I'm going because I want to teach him the right thing. So when your goal in life is clear, which Bhagavan Sri Krishna throughout his life, he says, not to establish dharma, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam. I am here to establish dharma, to protect the good. Then his every action throughout from the time he was little, from the time the demons, even when he was a child, he was attacked by Putana and all these demons, till the end, till he finished Kansa, finished Shishupala, all the demons, and the entire Duryodhan, the entire Kaurava family was destroyed. And of course, he also gave us the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, which we are studying right now. So his focus was very clear, establishment of dharma, and that's what he did throughout his life. So that's what we learn. Or Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, his idea was to re-establish his knowledge which had been forgotten and which was taught only in Sanskrit. Gurudev came down from the Himalayas to give us this knowledge, to teach us in English. Why? Because his goal was clear, his focus was clear. So that's what they say. When you start on your goal, make sure you have single pointed focused vision. We'll go to number 42. Now 42, 43, 44, Bhagwan is talking about the rituals. In those days, a lot of Vedic rituals were done. So what are the Vedas? What were the rituals? And how Bhagwan criticizes excessive or wrong kinds of rituals are in these next three shlokas. Let us see how many we have time to do today. So number 42. Yami mam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipaschitah Vedavadarataः partha Nanyadastīti vādinah Yāmimāṃ pushpitāṃ vācam pravadantya vipaschitah Vedavadarataः partha Nanyadastīti vādinah. So he says, avipaschita in the end of the first line, people who are unwise. Vipaschita means those who are wise. Avipaschita means unwise. So what do they do? Yam, imam. So these pushpitam vacham, flowery words they use, flowery words. What is that? We'll talk about. Pravadanti, and that's what they use. They use all these flowery language. The unwise, and what do they do? Veda Vada Rata. Their mind is on the rituals of the Vedas. Partha, O Arjuna, na anyad asti. There is nothing else. Iti vadinaha. They only talk about ritualism and do not progress in their life. So why rituals? So in the Vedas, there are 4 portions. Those who want to write down or can write down or do the study of it. There are 4 portions of the Vedas. So first is I just give a brief introduction of what is Veda. Veda comes from with, to know, the knowledge. So one is mantras. Mantras are chants which have either names of God or glory of God, or about nature, the glory of nature. So the mantras talk about God's names or the glories of nature. Then Brahmanas are next. After mantras come Brahmanas. Brahmanas are rituals which are performed for a specific desire. So desire prompted rituals. So somebody wants a child, then he'll do that kind of yajna, or he wants success in business, or somebody's not well in his house, he wants. So those, you do those for a particular desire. Or some people do it for desiring heaven. Like there are some rituals which you perform and they say you are guaranteed to go to heaven. Like in Kathopanishad, Nachiketa was asked Yamraj for the mantras, for that ritual which guarantees heaven. And Yamraj tells Nachiketa, and he says this particular ritual will be called the Nachiketa Agni, the fire ritual that will be. So some rituals are guaranteed to give you result. That is Brahmana. So these are desire prompted rituals, that I should get something out of that. So mantras, Brahmanas. The third is Aranyakas. Aranyakas are upasanas, where you do worship of Bhagwan. You worship Bhagwan, do whatever prayers. And worship not only means chanting, but how to orient my life so that I do what Bhagwan will want me to do, what would please my Bhagwan. So doing the God's service, Lord's service, that's why in the Shanti mantra they say, in the Upanishads, Thirai Rangaihi Stushtu Vagam Sastanubihi Vyashema Deva Hitai Yadayuhu. So he says, oh Lord, whatever life you have given me, may I live that life in service of your work. May I do your work in whatever life I have in this life. Whatever job I am doing, whatever profession I am doing, may I do it as God's work. So that is the third. So mantras, Brahmanas, and Aranyakas, which are worship. The fourth is the Upanishad, which is the highest knowledge. And that is only a very small percentage, about 4 to 5% of the entire Vedas. And the Vedas were not written by a human. They were revealed to the rishis in their meditation. All these mantras were revealed. That's why they are called Shruti. They were heard, not written by, unlike Smritis, which were Manu Smriti and all was written by Manu, or like these Bhagavad Gita and all are also called Smritis, where they were taught by Bhagwan. If it was Bhagwan himself, but taught as a human to another human. So Upanishads are the highest knowledge and a very small percentage, but the goal of all the rituals and upasanas is to take you to Upanishads. That's why Upanishads were called Vedanta. Vedanta means the end of the Upanishads or the goal of the Upanishads. So we have 4 portions: mantras, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. Upanishad is the highest knowledge. But a lot of people just get stuck at rituals. They will just only do rituals, do a lot of chanting, lot of rituals. Why? For a particular purpose. And they will misquote, saying, Vedas say just do the rituals, go to heaven. And that is all and not only that, but we find in many religions where their only goal is in heaven. You go to heaven, in Islam, in Christianity, the highest goal is go to heaven. But in our Vedic literature, the highest goal is enlightenment, become one with that essence within. So turning inward, and that is taught in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, in the highest. So the person who starts, even if he gets some benefit from doing the Brahmanas, maybe he gets a child or gets success in business or goes to heaven, he should understand that that is only temporary. if I have got some wealth, even going to heaven is not the final goal, because kshine punye martya lokam vishanti. Whatever punyas I have done, if I have done with the idea that I'll go to heaven, then you will go to heaven, enjoy all the good food and drinks and watch the apsaras dancing and the musicians playing and have a great time. And then after some time, when your punyas are exhausted, you come back to earth and continue your journey. So one should realize that all of these rituals, what is the purpose of doing rituals? One purpose is that may I get what I want. Other purpose is that by doing these rituals, chanting the name of Bhagwan and doing his puja, his service, I'm purifying my mind. My mind is getting free from anger, greed, jealousy, selfishness, hatred. And in a pure mind, when I sit in front of a guru, then the Upanishads make sense. Then the knowledge of the Upanishads can come to me only if my mind is pure. So we are not saying that one should not do rituals or prayers. In fact, chanting the name of the Lord is the most powerful method to get the mind purified. So every opportunity you get, chant the name of the Lord. Every day they say 2 hours you should spend in chanting the name of the Lord. If you can't do continuously, whenever you have an opportunity, sometime 20 minutes, half an hour, sit in your puja room and do it. Rest of the time, while cooking, while driving, while on the treadmill, just chant the name of the Lord. So your mind gets purified. And in that pure mind, that's why Gurudev says, turn your mind in devotion to the Lord. He will purify it and return it back to you. So turn your mind to Bhagwan, get purified, and in that pure mind, you can get the highest knowledge of the Upanishads, and that will tell me what is my goal in life, what is my purpose. My purpose in life is not just to grow up, get married, have children, grandchildren, and die. Purpose is to attain God realization. So this is what the Upanishads will tell us, how to get this highest goal in life. But if you just use flowery language, some people say, just do this and you will get it. They sometimes misquote or give you wrong advice. It's like you see an ad on TV, very flowery language. They say, you buy 2 of these and the third one is free. So the moment we hear free, we go and buy it, but we don't realize that in that 2, they've already charged you for 4. They have charged you for 4, but they say third one is free. So unless you do your research, you will end up. So that's called flowery language, where you misquote and don't teach. So that's what they say, that the purpose of this knowledge is to develop vairagya, to develop detachment. And when you detach from the objects of the world, then you can attach to Bhagwan. So detach from the world and attach to Bhagwan. That's what Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda ji taught us. So doing all these things are good, but then one has to progress from there to knowledge. Continue to do rituals, prayers, chanting, that's very good. But realize that what is my ultimate goal in life is to reach God, to reach enlightenment. So develop vairagya. So all these rituals will take you towards the highest goal, but ultimately the highest goal can only come through knowledge. Prayers are good, bhakti is wonderful, it has to be done. Without bhakti, you cannot get knowledge, because they are two together. Bhakti and knowledge are like two wings of a bird. And for me to progress, I have to have both. Sometimes people think, hey, bhakti is for ignorant people. I'll just go study the Upanishads. Why do I need? No. Unless you do bhakti, your knowledge will not be fructified. And some people say bhakti alone is theek, I just sit and chant, remember God. No, you also need to have knowledge of who is God. So that's why the Vedas have both. They have bhakti and they have gyan, and both have been emphasized. But those who just do them without knowing what is the purpose and using all this flowery language, or without understanding properly and misquoting the Vedas, then they are called Vedavada Rata. Then they are just involved in mechanically doing the rituals, doing puja without knowing the purpose. So it's like in life also, if I do mechanically something, I won't get what is my goal, what is my purpose. Before I start, I have to know what is my goal. So mechanically doing things will not help unless your goal is clear. So that's what he says. Na anyat asti iti vadina. So these people think that alone is necessary. Just do rituals and you will get heaven. And that's it. They're not realizing that the results are temporary. Now Bhagwan again criticizes those who have selfish desire. That's verse number 43. Kamat mana swarga paraha janma karma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam Yogaishwarya gatim prati Kamat manas swarga paraha Janma karma phala pradam Kriya vishesha bahulam Bhogaishwarya gatim prati. So, kamatmana. Kamatma means those whose mind is obsessed with selfish desires. What is kama? Kama is selfish desires. Like dharmatma, whose mind is full of dharma. Kamatma is one whose mind is full of kama, is of selfish desire. Kama does not only mean desire for the opposite sex, but it means selfish desires. Swarga paraha. And why are they doing activities? To go to Swarga. That is their whole purpose in life. Go to Swarga. And what happens to them? Janma karma phala pradam. So what do they get? Janma karma phala. What is the fruit of birth? Fruit of birth is death. And then after death, another birth. Then another death. Then another birth. So they go through birth after birth, death after death. Even when they go to heaven, okay, they died on earth. Their birth was in heaven. Then when heaven is completed, they die. Heaven ends, they come back to the earth. So they go from life after life, birth after birth, death after death. So that is all they get. If their life is only lived for desire, for selfish desires, and for Swarga. And what do? Kriya Vishesha Bahulam. They do lot of activities, lot of work they do. But for what? Not for serving society. Bhoga Aishwarya Gatim Prati. Prati to means to go towards Bhoga and Aishwarya. Bhoga means pleasures, enjoyment. Aishwarya means lordship. So their whole focus in life is to enjoy, have pleasures, and have a lot of power. We are not saying that one should not enjoy life, but if your whole focus of life is, enjoy like how pure, whatever is life you do, and get what you want, and then may I become more powerful, may I fraud over other people and get even what they have, may I get more power. All that you're doing is accumulating negative karma. So he says these people, that's all they want in life, pleasure, enjoyment, and power. And power includes wealth, political power, all that. So such people, Bhagwan condemns. So as we said, Kamatma means those who have desire. So Ramakrishna Paramhans says it very beautifully. He says, where there is Kama, there won't be Rama. And where there is Rama, there is no Kama. So if you want to reduce your desire, remember Ram. And once you remove Kama from your mind, Bhagwan automatically is already there. God is already there within us, Ram or Sri Krishna or Lord Shiva, they are already within us. When you take away your desire, Bhagwan manifests. So when there is Kama, there won't be Rama. So as we said, we already talked about heaven is their goal, and that is a temporary goal, does not give them permanent happiness, Swarga Paraha. But why are these rituals mentioned? Why is our great rishis put all these? Why didn't they directly put Upanishads? Why do they put all this stuff? So they say that when you do these rituals and you get the results, say on this life, then they say, okay, you got the results, but was the result permanent? Say, no, it's not permanent. Money I have, that will go away at death. Children will leave me, heaven also. So they say that's the idea. So the Vedas have given this before to show you that this won't give you permanent joy, permanent happiness. You say, do you ask him, do you want temporary joy or permanent joy? Do you want joy for 5 years and after that you will have suffering? No, 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 no. I don't want joy for 5 years and then suffer. I want permanent joy. But we look for permanent joy in temporary things, either in objects or something I have eventually will get old. My brand new car, my new house, it will get old and start giving me problems. My child, I think, will give me joy. He becomes a teenager, all sorrows start. Or any person, oh, he used to love me so much. And now what happened? After a few years, there is no love, there is fighting. And so we look for happiness either in objects, people, or in situation. Like I had this job, I was vice president of this firm, this corporation. I had a big, beautiful house, all that, nice job, salary, and suddenly there's layoffs. Suddenly 15,000 jobs, some of like Google, Facebook, and I have cut 10, 15, 20,000 jobs. So you may be VP, you may be, manager, all that. The whole division gets cut. So if we put our happiness either in objects, people, or in positions, that can end. So he says, if you want permanent happiness, put it in permanent. Put your happiness in God, and then that you will never lose it. That's why we find the saints, no matter how many sorrows they have, because their mind is always in God, nothing can touch them. So the idea of doing these rituals is that you do them with the right attitude, that I want to purify my mind, and I'm not interested in bhoga or Aishwarya. Yes, if it comes, some enjoyment is okay. They're not saying you shouldn't have a job, position, or power, but that should not become my purpose in life. And while doing this, if when you see that it's not giving me permanent happiness, then such a person goes to the teacher. That's why in Mundak Upanishad it says, having seen pariksha lokan कर्मचितान ब्राह्मण निर्वेदाय नास्त्य कृत कृतेन तद विज्ञार्थम गुरुमेवाभिगच्छेत समित पाणी श्रोत्रिय ब्रह्मनिष्ठम. So he says, one person who has seen that the world is not giving me permanent happiness, he has done whatever he's successful, done the best, but still didn't get the final happiness. And such a person, then realizing that, develops vairagya, that this world I have is okay, but it's not the main goal in life. So he does not depend on the world, and then he goes to a guru with offerings. And what is the offering? Dry sticks. What it means is my mind is like just as a dry stick. When you set fire, it burns immediately. So my mind has a lot of vasanas, but they are ready to be burnt. I am ready. So I have come so that you may please, teacher, remove my vasanas, my selfishness, my desires, and give me the right knowledge. So that's what they say. That is vairagya, where you have seen the world, not that you are a failure, you are a success, but you realize that the world alone will not. And that should be the understanding for all of us. Having studied the Bhagavad Gita, my goal should be God realization, Bhagavan, to become one with him. And that is what the message is. The Bhagwan is telling us, now we'll do the last shloka for today. What happens to people who do not get this knowledge and their whole goal is just wealth, pleasures, and that's all. And they are attached to wealth. They want it at any cost. They are desperate. They must have it, must have this, must have that, power, position, anything that you are excessively attached to, which takes you away from God. So what happens to such people? So in 44, Bhagwan will tell us, Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam Daya pahrita chetasam Vyavasayatmika buddhihi Samadhau na vidhiyate Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam Daya pahrita chetasam Vyavasayatmika buddhihi Samadhau na vidhiyate. So Bhoga and Aishwarya, we already heard in the last verse, last shloka. Bhoga means sense pleasures. Aishwarya means lordship, power. Satta means those who are attacked. Prasakta means excessively attached. But that's all my goal is, get maximum pleasure, maximum power, maximum wealth. So they are so attached to it that by that, apahrita chetasam, by that focus on that, their mind is stolen away. But their mind doesn't think of anything else. That's all I want. Power, 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 money, money, money. Success, success. That's all their focus is. Their mind is not even had time to turn to God. So, vyavasayatmika buddhi. So they do not get this single pointed devotion towards Bhagwan. And samadhau, in samadhi, na vidhiyate. Their mind is not able to focus on the Lord, focus on the world. And that's all they do in their life. So Bhagwan is criticizing excessive sense indulgence, where then that only suppose a person is addicted to alcohol, then morning to night, that's all he's thinking. Where will I get my next drink? Excessively addicted to, drugs. So same way, when we are excessively attached to any of these worldly pleasures, then our mind only looks for that. And such a person's mind is stolen. Why? Because they think of nothing else. So Bhagwan says, put your mind in me. And even while you're working in the world, we're not saying that you shouldn't work, not be success, but keep your mind that whoever I'm serving is God himself. If I'm cooking for God. If I'm a receptionist, every customer that comes is God. If I'm a doctor or every patient is God. For an engineer, whatever project I'm building, it is for God. So do all activities focused to Lord, and when the result comes, dedicate it to God. So that is Karma Yoga. So work with keeping God in mind, and then when you get the benefit, the result, show gratitude. Bhagwan, it is because of your power that I was able to accomplish it. And keep your mind, and slowly as you get this knowledge and say we have achieved success in the world, we are comfortable, then turn your mind more and more towards God. And ultimately, once you are done with your worldly activities, then your mind should be 100%. But does not mean that I wait till retirement, till age 65, and then I will start. Wherever I am, let me start and do activities dedicated to God, making him my goal in all activities. And what is samadhi? Samadhi, people think is like, this person sitting, with this, like that, in eyes closed and for days, months, years. Yeah, that is samadhi. That is one aspect of samadhi. But samadhi means atma, means when my mind is focused on the Lord, I am in samadhi. I may be cooking, I may be walking, I may be talking. That's why realized masters, they don't need to sit for meditation. Raman Maharishi never did. Why? Because his mind was always in the self, in Bhagwan. So these masters, yes, a lot of them, they do sit for meditation, but if they are enlightened masters, they don't need to do that. I'll let you. So that's what they say. So such people, when their mind is focused on the higher, then that is called true samadhi. Otherwise, they are so attached to worldly objects and they are not even focused. See, as we said, they have 1,000 desires, 1,000 directions. And that's why Bhagwan Vishnu, he sleeps on a bed of Sheshnag who has 1,000 heads. What does that represent? 1,000 desires. But Sheshnag, all his 1,000 heads are directed towards Bhagwan Vishnu. They are not going here and there. So same way, our mind, whatever desires we have, ultimately desire should be, I want God and God alone and nothing else. So that's what Bhagwan says, that do not be excessive attached to desire and let your mind not get stolen by these selfish tendencies. And Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Again, Bhagwan emphasizes, make your mind single-pointed, focused on what you are supposed to achieve, what your goal is. And the goal should be very clear. See, if our goal is not clear, so one message we should take from this Bhagavad Gita, that my ultimate goal of this life is enlightenment. And in this life itself, I don't want to wait for next life, next birth. We don't know next birth, where will I be, what will I do? So in this life, I should be single-pointed, and samadhi means my mind should always be with Bhagwan, with God, and every opportunity you get, chant the name of the Lord, wake up in the morning chanting his name, go to bed at night chanting his name, and be grateful. I think I have mentioned, even after a shower, thank you, Bhagwan. In this country, we are so blessed. We get plentiful of warm, clean water. Some places they have to, walk miles to bring a pot of water for a shower. So gratitude towards the Lord and constant remembrance is the way to turn our mind to him. And that's what, so today we have covered this topic of being single-pointed, reducing desires for the world, increasing desires for God, and focusing the mind on the higher. And the highest goal is spiritual. So that should be our highest goal. Yes, I need to have family, take care of my family, children, finances, and all. But that is secondary. My main goal is enlightenment. So that will end here. We have about 10 minutes. If anybody has any questions or comments, we can. Yeah, so we have some people on Zoom and also in person. We have quite a few people. So please feel free to ask questions. You can unmute yourself now. So you can ask questions, make any comments. Kusum, go ahead, please.
For a nice
little louder.
Thank you so much for a beautiful discourse. And the 4 or 5 verses we did, I think single-pointedness was the best thing that you pointed out. Our goal is God realization in this very life. But as we say, we are living in this world, it's hard for us to do. So to get single-pointedness, first we must have the peace of mind. Otherwise, we are not going to get that. And I think there are 5 fundamental practices given to us to get that peace of mind. And those are like, the first one is ahimsa, which is non-violence. The second is the self-control so that you don't go through all these pleasures and all. Those are important, but not to get attached to that. So the self-control, brahmacharya, second. Third one is to tell the truth so that you're not lying to yourself, to other people, and so many other things to understand the truth. Fourth is non-stealing, because that. And the fifth one, they say, is the accepting gifts or collecting a lot of necessary things. And if we do anything opposite of these five fundamental factors, we would not have peace of mind and we will not reach our goal in this life. So Vedanta says, practice this so you get peace of mind, and then self-realization goal, you definitely will have success. So I think that was.
Thank you. Yeah,
I
your
just wanted
volume
to-
was a little low, so I'll just repeat for the audience that Kusum said that basically the values that are described in the Upanishads, brahmacharya, self-control, purity of mind, honesty, not stealing. And when you have the right values, practice the right values, then your mind becomes peaceful. Without your mind being at peace, you will not be able to progress in life and get the highest knowledge. So thank you, Kusum. Yeah, absolutely, that is true. Unless we have the practice, the values, the knowledge getting is useless. Knowledge alone without practice is of no use. It's like a doctor going to medical school, finishing, and then doesn't see patients, then that knowledge is no use. So developing the right values and purity of mind and calmness of mind. Yeah, thank you. Yes.
So how would someone know that they're ready for the wisdom and the knowledge of the Upanishads? It's that you try it, okay, I don't understand it, let me go back and do those same rituals and things I was doing before, and then try again to see if it's something that makes sense, and then you just go back and forth and finally it clicks. Or do you know as an individual, will something be like, okay, I think I'm ready now, I'm prepared. I've gone through all these rituals, I've done the mantra, the brahmanas and everything else. Now I'm ready for the wisdom, the true wisdom and the knowledge of the Upanishads.
Yeah, so the question is, should we wait till we do all the rituals, and when will I be ready for the knowledge? My opinion is you're ready right now. See, if you keep waiting, okay, I'll do all the rituals and purify my mind, by that time, many years of your life would be lost. So the idea is that if you find the right knowledge, if you find the Bhagavad Gita and the right knowledge, and a guru, like teacher like Puja Gurudev, who has his commentaries, a lot of you have. So once you find it, start. Even if you haven't achieved that, simultaneously you should be doing rituals, doing some puja. Again, ritual doesn't mean elaborate rituals. Most of us are not qualified to do those. But sit in front of God and do some puja, offer your mind to God, do some prasad, offer some bhog, some, food, and then take it as Bhagwan's prasad and chant, do some chanting, do some simple, aarti, things like that. So doing all those things, at the same time taking God with you, and then the knowledge you can start right away. See, I believe that whatever spiritual activities, we should do them right away. Do some karma yoga, do some service, do some puja, do some meditation daily, and daily study of the Bhagavad Gita. And once you progress, then you can also progress to Upanishads. No, we do have a class on Tuesday, 12:30, where we study the Upanishads. We have done 4. So all those things are available. So you can start. You don't have to wait till the ultimately, even though they have given those in sequence. But it doesn't mean you finish them. What they're saying is, as you're doing those rituals, as your mind becomes calm, as Kusum just said, and becomes peaceful, then you start. So don't have to wait. And also the knowledge will help you to purify your mind, because when you get the right knowledge, then you will do the right actions. So that is bhakti and Gyan are not opposed to each other, they complement each other. So doing bhakti and doing Gyan, both are simultaneously done, and also service. Once I know God, I should love God and I should serve God. So all those 3 should happen together. So that is what. So I wouldn't wait till I have learned the rituals. Rituals we cannot learn, because unless you are Brahman and you go to the, doesn't have to be a Brahman, but you go to the right guru, and it's very hard to do them. So do whatever is easy. Like I also do some prayers, but I don't do the elaborate. I do whatever I can, wherever I am. But daily doing some prayers and some remembrance of God is very important. Thank you for that's a good question. Any other questions, comments, either from Zoom or from here? Yeah, Kusum, you have comment?
Yeah, if nobody has any questions or anything, I just want to add to the last person's question. I think we did discuss this a while ago in our study group. One of the Swamijis has said that how do at this level we begin? What is our sadhana? Like he was asking whether I should do all the rituals first, then start learning Gita. What he said that daily, what we should do, even if we haven't done anything, because majority of us who are in the class, I think we never done any Vedic rituals except Gayatri Yagna or something, as far as I know. So he had said that daily we should read Bhagavad Gita, even if you don't understand, and Vishnu Sahasranam. Second thing he said, just like you covered all of them, but these are like 5 steps he given us. Daily meditate on Om and see that enlivening force in everybody. By meditating, you will get that idea also. And 3, daily read some of the scriptures and reflect on it constantly. 4, he said physically, like service you mentioned, give either wealth, forgiveness, kindness to anybody that you think you can do it. And the 5th one is to be very grateful to God and to the teacher. I mean, we already have our Gurudev, so be grateful that he has given us all this. We do every day these 5 things, all these automatically will give us peace of mind, and we'll be on that path of the realization. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for these comments. Okay, anybody else adds anything or questions? Okay, so we'll end here. Next week we'll continue, and Bhagwan will shift the topic to gunas and how one can go, what are the 3 gunas, how one can go beyond gunas. And again, a little bit more about Karma Yoga. Bhagwan will tell us. Karmanya Vadika Raste, the most famous shloka of the Bhagavad Gita, will cover next week. Ma Phaleshu Kadachana, and then we'll continue. So thank you everybody for coming and for participating on Zoom and in person. We'll do the closing. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhave. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. Hari Om.